Chaos brewing at CBS, a heavily promoted 60-minute segment on Trump-era deportations that was pulled at the last minute has now leaked online thanks to a Canadian TV app. So Canadians saw that segment, the segment titled Inside CCOT. It was scheduled to air Sunday night in the United States, but network executives yanked it just hours before airtime. That's all after the network's new editor-in-chief there, Barry Weiss, requested major revisions to the story, including additional reporting and comments from senior Trump administration officials. And though Weiss was able to stop the segment from airing domestically, like I said, it briefly appeared on Global TV's free website and app on Monday in Canada. It remained for 2 hours until it was finally removed. We, however, here in the U.S., we have not yet seen the leaked segment ourselves, and it was spiked, but it doesn't mean it's never going to air. We may see
exactly. They did some edits, apparently. But according to a new report from Axios, the segment did include previous comments made by President Trump, who said El Salvador's prison system has very strong facilities and they don't play games. It also includes a clip of White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt previously saying these are heinous monsters, rapists, murderers, kidnappers, sexual assaulters, predators who have no right to be in this country, and they must be held accountable.
The outlet also revealing that, quote, according to a source familiar with 60 Minutes correspondence with the administration, the 60 Minutes team reached out to press officials at the White House, the State Department, and DHS, all of which provided comment to CBS News. However, none of those comments, which varied in length and substance, were included in the piece viewed by Axios. So Axios with a lot of great reporting on that.
Yes, the story continues to make headlines. And joining us now to weigh in is political commentator E.D. Hill, along with policy analyst at CFACT and Republican strategist Melanie Collette, here with us on set. E.D., I'm going to start with you here. What do you make of this? There's a lot of back and forth. Was this a political decision or a journalistic decision based on what you've seen?
I think Weiss is doing what she was brought in to do. And that is take things that shouldn't be on air, especially boring programs like 60 Minutes, and replace them with something that is better. And quite frankly, if I were that reporter and I was given a story that had already been reported by NBC, NPR, New York Times, AP, CBS, Reuters, and Politico, plus many more, I would think I better find a new angle. And what we know is that there is no new angle. Everybody's already reported the death out of this thing, because otherwise the information we'd be getting right now from the leaked parts are something new. We're not getting anything new. That's how bad the piece was.
Yeah, I mean, Melanie, to Edie's point here, Barry Weiss was quoted as saying the ball needs to move a little more forward on this story. To Edie's point, a lot of outlets have picked up this story. We know that here. Your thoughts, was this a political decision or a journalistic decision? I've been around newsrooms a lot in my career. Stories get spiked for whatever reason. You need more work, you need more reporting. That's normal.
That is, and it sounds to me like a journalism decision to me, like that she's trying to do better. Let's not forget that CBS is $16 million lighter going to President Trump because of their skewed and biased reporting. So I think this new person is saying, hey, let's do a better job. Let's make sure that we have both sides and that we're not calling balls and strikes and being objective. So it sounds to me like it was a journalistic decision. It had nothing to do with politics.
Yeah, when we were talking about it yesterday and the story was first breaking, it was sort of, we weren't sure because we were not there. We were not either the reporter or we were not Barry Weiss until we saw this. And so that's why we want to share it with you. CBS News editor-in-chief. That is what she is now, Barry Weiss. Basically, she's the boss. She told top 60 Minutes producers in an email, we want to be specific here. She said, at present, we do not present the administration's argument for why it sent 252 Venezuelans to CCOT. What we have is Karoline Leavitt's soundbite claiming they are evildoers in America, rapists, murderers, etc. But isn't there much more to ask in light of the torture that we are revealing? Tom Homan and Stephen Miller don't tend to be shy. I realize we've emailed the DHS spokes, but we need to push much harder to get these principles on the record. The data we present paints an incongruent picture of the 252 Venezuelans sent to CCOT. We say nearly half have no criminal histories. In other words, more than half do have criminal histories. We should spend a beat explaining this. Edie, I think this is one of those things. If my boss, again, we're both journalists. If my boss, especially in a newsroom, and I was working on this very important story, sent me that with it wasn't just like, okay, kill the piece or pause the piece. It was with very, very specific feedback, very specific detail. So to me, that's something you better do, not complain about it.